Just want to make a quick video on how I bank pool balls. Works pretty good. As you can see, if you measure between these dots, from here to here to here, approximately you would be right at this spot. This is where this dot would be. If you went up to it, the spot would be right here. So if you follow this dot all the way to the edge of the rail right here, if you use those spots, instead of aiming, don't aim at the dot, aim at where the dot would hit the rail straight out from it. See, so right here. So as you can see, from this spot to that spot on the rail, straight out from the dot, if you run a ball, right down that line, see, straight, you run a ball straight down that line, it's going to be right to the side pocket. And keeping that in mind, shot that one-handed, obviously, but if you have a ball that is really close to that same line, right here from that point, not at the dot, straight out, connected to this line, if it's close to on the same line, like say just over a little bit, like right there, you can more or less just parallel shift that line over a little bit, and it will be pretty close to the same, the same pocket. But of course you'll have to come in a little bit. But what also works pretty good is, say if the ball was here, halfway, if you notice this dots, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 from pocket to pocket here. But if you came over one line, or half a dot, see, half a dot right there, you come straight out, so right here on the rail, right here in the middle, and then on this end, so from that side pocket, you see I'm 1.5 dots over, approximately 1.5. So what's double 1.5? That's 3. So coming from this side, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. So this third dot, so I'm 1.5 on this side, and I'm 1, 2, 3. But you don't look at 3 on the table, you look at 3 on the rail. So from 3 to the rail to 1.5 over there, basically that runs straight, a ball that goes straight down that line, from where the rail. The secret is not to use the dots here, but to use them where they touch the rail, instead of trying to aim at the dots. Everybody always tries to use the dots and tries to aim at the dot, which doesn't really work, because depending on where the ball is, say the ball was here and you aim at the dot, or if it was over here and you aim at the dot, you're hitting the rail in a completely different spot. So that's why it's not very effective. For me anyway. I don't know, maybe somebody's got some luck with it. But anyway, so you can see over here, if I went 1.5 and 3 from the, that side pocket, put the ball on that line and shot it right on that line. Let's see if I'm lined up. See, it's going to be really close to the side. I shot that one-handed, so that's why I missed. But anyway, so the same principle could be applied to, say you wanted to bank into this side pocket right here, like this. You could see that this dot would be right here, so you don't use where the dot is back here, you use where the dot would be right here, straight out. See, so you can see I'm straight out here, I'd be straight in front of that dot there. So if I'm 1 dot over, then I need to be 2 dots. I need to be 1, 2 dots over here, but touching the rail where the dot is. See, that's a perfect angle to go. It's a perfect triangle, symmetrical. So if this was the middle, this is exactly a perfect mirror. And what's nice about this is you can adjust it. Say your ball wasn't on this exact line right here. If your ball was over a little bit, you could modify it. You could move over 1 inch 1 inch up there, and then you need to double it back here. So you could see where the dot would be right here, 1 inch. So if I moved over 1 inch from that dot, I need to move over twice that, so 2 inches from this dot. See, so I just moved the line over 1 inch and 2 inches, just like you would if it was, you know, one diamond and 2 diamonds. So you just do the same thing to modify it a little bit. You know, if you put this ball on that line right there, set up the camera. See, it went in the pocket. It went off another ball, but whatever. You're kind of figuring it out. The system also works pretty good for full table bank shots as well. As you can see, on a full table bank shot, you know, the spot that you would hit would be, you know, right here, and then it would be dead right there on that pocket, and that should go to that corner pocket. But what ends up happening is when you hit a rail at this kind of 30, 45 degree angle, when a stripe hits it, it puts some right hand spin on the ball when it hits the rail like that. See how it puts right hand spin on it? So anytime you shoot a ball kind of slow or medium at that angle, it's going to pick up right hand spin off the first rail, and it's going to go longer than it would normally go. So a lot of times banks seem to go a little bit better when they're firmly hit. But anyway, just like you know, to the side pocket shot, where I shot to the side, if you wanted to do a full table and come on this line, and you wanted to put a ball, say, just like here, so to adjust this, I could move over, you know, so from here, you know, straight out in front of here to here is 1 diamond. So if I moved in 1/4 of a diamond, right, and then back here, I'm coming into this diamond out here, so a double 1/4 would be 1/2. So I can move approximately back here, you know, the distance of 1/2 a diamond, you know, which is, you know, about a hand's width or whatever. So like right here, but it kind of gets you in the ballpark. So you can see I adjusted it over 1/4 diamond here and 1/2 a diamond back here. And if I put the ball on that line about right here, you know, it's going to be really close to go into that corner pocket. It's really hard to do with one hand, pretty much impossible. Anyways, that works pretty good. Let's set up another shot. Okay, let's do up here, we'll do 1 1/4, right? 1 1/4, so 2 1/2. So back here we go 1, 2, 2 1/2 right here. So 1 1/4 and 2 1/2. It's basically gonna put me right on line for the side pocket, which I was off about an inch on that one. But it works pretty good. You don't have to do any calculations. You don't have to remember any certain numbers or anything like that. I would say what also works pretty good would be the mirror system. So when you're standing on this side of the table, if you can just imagine the distance between where you want the ball to go, you know, and where the opposite pocket is, that distance, you double that distance. And out here in space, so it would be like the distance from here to here, you double that distance out here on the floor, and you make that spot, and you basically, you bank that ball at that spot out there on the floor, that's double the distance. And some people have explained it basically as, you know, you look at the whole table, and then you imagine a mirror of the whole table right beside the whole table. The exact same distance right here beside it. And basically, you take this distance and you just double it. You could just look, you know, imagine it, 1, 2, 3. So any balls on the table, if you shoot them at that imaginary pocket out in space from here to here to here, you know, in my house, you know, I can tell that it's probably about where the corner of that bench is, somewhere right in that range. So any ball that you shoot that's at that bench, you know, mathematically it's going to be going at this side pocket because that's where you want it. Yeah, that's not turning out too hot. But if I shot it with... All right, I'm back. But anyway, so, you know, and it works going this way. It's also pretty good for these shots where you've got a bank. You got a bank. You say you're on this side of the table and you're trying to bank a ball back into this pocket right here. So, you know, if this is 1, you just take half of that, and then you come to 1. You know, 1 here. So straight out where it touches the rail. That's the important part. So anything that travels down this line will come right here. But that's saying, you know, a medium speed at kind of a shallow angle. If your angle increases to where you're hitting that point, anything that comes down that line, it picks up more left-hand English and ends up going long. So you have to adjust everything a little bit. And of course, you're always going to be using, you know, a cue ball to hit the other ball. So depending on if you're sending a ball down that line right there, if this ball comes across like this way, it's going to put a little spin on this ball. So when that ball hits that rail on that tangent line, it's going to want to go to the right a little bit. So you'll have to do your natural, you know, outside English slightly, put a little gearing on it to get it, you know, to come down that line. You're trying to get that ball that you hit to roll cleanly down that line and not have a lot of English on it. Otherwise, you would trouble. It also works pretty well with the full table banks. If you're coming down here, if you notice down there, halfway, you know, 1 diamond, 2 diamonds down there is 1, 2, 3, 4 diamonds down here. So anything that hits, you know, so you don't aim at that diamond. You don't aim here, you aim straight in front of it. So they're lined up with, you know, down here, not quite lined up, pretty close, about right here. It's gonna go to this pocket back here. So if you wanted to adjust from that and say your ball wasn't on this line, if you went in a 1/4 diamond here, then back down here, you would go in double a 1/4 diamond, so you go in half. So you know you need to come in from half right here to a 1/4 diamond and just come straight down that line right there, and that's going to go to this corner pocket. So that's a real good way to imagine, you know, where that pocket is. You know, of course, you know, like 1 diamond here would be 2 diamonds down here. So you just come down that line, you know, straight in front of 2, aim it at the 1 down there, just like that, and that's going to go straight back to this pocket. So pretty effective. You just have to work with it a little bit to get used to it. Make sure your Englishes and your speeds are pretty much right on. Anyway, hope this helps somebody out.